Welcome to Upgrade. I'm your host, Frank the Tank. Today we're going to bring a Dell Latitude 7490 upgrade to the battery. We're going to upgrade the battery because the battery is bad on the machine. I'm going to take it step by step, and these are inexpensive now these days. You can buy them from the vendors. They're pretty cheap now these days. Before they used to be over $100. Now you can find them under $50 in some places. And we're going to take a look at it and see how to set it up. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, let's unlock all the screws first. All right, now that we removed all the screws, we're gonna go ahead and commence to lift it. And it's a little hard to lift on these sometimes. So you gotta find a little corner and then stick a little plastic in there. So once I'm in there, I just twist it and voila. Now, while you're here, I recommend you guys clean it up, because these things are super dirty. You guys see it. So let's go ahead and commence and replace the battery. So to replace the battery, simple. You just have to unhook it right here. If you guys see it, this is the power source, all right? Lift it. You have to lift it, holding it down, and that's it. But now, after you unplug it, you still have to disconnect the battery from the actual motherboard. So follow the steps. There's a couple. Sometimes there's a screw here, but it's not in here right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this screw here. One screw. We'll put it on the side. Two screws. Okay, that's it. You need two screws. This is very important, guys. If you guys see this cable, when you purchase the battery, it doesn't come with it. So make sure this is a newer battery, if you guys can see, and this is from a vendor. And I'm gonna put his site. It's very, very inexpensive, easy to set up. So it's about the same battery. It tells you 60 right here, and this is actually 62. So we're good. And all we have to do is take out the cable and use the same cable and the same connection as follow. So we're gonna turn it around so you can see the new one and the old one. If you guys can see the cable, follow the cable, right? So if you have adhesive or any tape, just tape it off and try not to bend the battery because that's when a chemical reaction happens and it can start fire. So be careful, guys. So once you take that off, just follow the routine here, and all this tape that you have in there, just make sure you prior to taking it off, and then all you have to do is pull this back. And that's it. All right, it's a little tug, all right, a little strong. So this is the back end. Leave the metal alone. We're gonna put the older battery away, and then we're gonna bring the same connection in here as we had it before. And you just follow it the same way and just push it in there, and it's in there. So if you see it, it's embedded in there. Just make sure it did. Sometimes when the batteries don't turn on, it's because you didn't connect it properly there. Just properly make sure you test it, right? So make sure you, there we go. There's no clicking sound or anything like that. Just make sure it's embedded. Now we follow the cable, the sync cable, and I know I have the tape in here, so we're gonna put the tape a little bit higher. Pass it in here. If you can't, get a plastic. If you push it in there, there you go. Push it in there, and that's it. And then put the tape back how it was here. And then we're gonna cook this up back to the other one. So we're gonna put the tape a little bit back here. And then this is how it goes. So basically same flat surfaces. You have a couple of bumps here. This one right here is where this center one goes, right? So just make sure you line it up. Lines up. You see that? Right next to the center one, right? Now this one right here, right? There's an empty one right here. I'm gonna point out. That's the actual screw that's in the center. So be careful on that one, all right? Don't put any screws in there. There's nothing in there. So once you have that set up, you go put the adhesive back if you want to. So we're gonna do that. But before we do that, we're gonna hook it up too. And then all we have to do is tie it down, because if you don't hook it up first, sometimes it's a little bit off. So you got to make sure your proper setup underneath of it. So we have that in there, and it's just basically all you have to do is drop it down. So in here, and that's it. Just push it down, make sure it's all the way down, and then we just end up putting the screws back. So we have 2 screws in here that we are able to take off. Here's one. These are good batteries, actually. They last a long time. So replacing them is not that hard. There's plenty of vendors out there. We're going to link the vendor that I bought it through so you guys could check him out. He has a lot of different batteries. I always purchase batteries from him because they're fast, simple, and they last a long time. That's pretty much it. Now, the original battery is a little different. If you notice, it's more covered up. But they do the same thing, all right? And just be careful not to bend them because you don't want a chemical reaction on that. Once you're done, you pretty much just cover it up. And then, like I said, clean it up. Clean it up as much as possible, right? So that's one thing you got to do. So if you have any questions or any comments, let me know. I'm your host, Frank the Tank, and we're out.